Hey, this is Henry Penix, the business fighter, coming to you with another podcast. I've got a very, very special guest today for you. This guy's been through quite a bit in his life to get to where he is today. His name is Dan Young. He's here to share his story with what you too can do in your life to make change real, to have a goal, and no matter what the obstacles are to that goal, how to overcome them and realize what you were really born for. So he's a great individual, energetic. He promised to drop a few golden nuggets here for my audience, and I'm very excited to have him on the show. So with that, please welcome Dan Young. Dan, nice to see you.
How you doing, Henry?
Good.
Thanks.
Glad you could take the time and be with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So just to kind of get started, everybody's got kind of a struggle and what they went through and kind of a turning point in their life. Sometimes it happens when you're younger. Sometimes it happens when you're in your teens, or sometimes in your even 20s or 30s. But what happened to you to sort of put that entrepreneurial spirit in you and keep you going from challenge to challenge until you got to where you want to go and kind of everything started kind of getting in the sweet spot for you?
Well, it started when I was a little kid. I remember my mother crying and my father saying, we're going to put our hands on our bills and we're going to pray and everything will just be fine. And, but I could see my mom, when my dad was praying, her eyes were kind of open and she was crying. And being like a 5-year-old kid, it was really tough to see.
Yeah.
So my whole childhood was a big financial struggle for the family. It's like getting evicted, moving from one place to another. So I kind of became a juvenile delinquent in that environment. And then it all came to this culmination of when I was about 15 years old. We got in this big brawl with these other guys and stuff. And I ended up going to juvenile detention center for 6 months.
Wow.
6 months.
It must have been a pretty big brawl.
It was pretty crazy. It was wild.
Yeah.
And what happened was after that point, I didn't really do anything. I was hanging around the wrong people.
Sure.
And the judge said, well, here's a little check for a few grand and we can relocate you because you're probably hanging out with the wrong friends. And so my sister took me in Salt Lake City, Utah. Wow. And that's where I decided, okay, I want to help my mother. I don't want to be in this bad environment anymore. And I want to make some changes.
Right.
So that was the big catalyst. Yeah.
So where were you when this happened? Were you in another state, not Utah?
Yes, I was in Southern California.
Okay.
In Southern California. And, you know, the gang problem there was really crazy back in the day and still is.
Yeah.
But I got sucked into that as a teenager, you know, and it was crazy.
Yeah. So then you moved from there to Utah, and what happened? What was your pivot point in Utah, and kind of what started happening to move you into more of a responsible, going for your goals, wanting to help your mom out? Like, what was the turning point in Utah? What happened?
So I went to college. I was school, not college here, first at high school here. And I was a terrible student, D's and F's, right? And the teacher's like, you have ADD, you don't pay attention, you're distracting everybody. And so I got a job part-time in the mall selling electronics. And then on the weekends, selling at the swap meet, selling out of all things, Ginsu knives.
Wow.
I remember those. You remember those Ginsu knives?
Yeah.
So we'd go to the swap meet, and I wasn't making much money. I'd sell a couple sets of knives, make like $50. And then I was watching late night TV, and I saw this guy dressed up, you know, with doing the Ginsu knives, but he was doing almost like karate kung fu at the same time. I was like, you know, I could do that. So I put on this karate gi, and I'm a white belt, right? So I put my white belt on. But I did this crazy show for people, and that next weekend we had made $2,000 in gross profit in one day.
No
selling Ginsu
way,
knives.
dude. So you found something to get people's attention and differentiated you from the crowd.
Yeah, and the big one is entertaining people and, you know, educating them on the knives and saying, hey, if you guys, you know, want some of them, here you go. And
Yeah. So did you get like real animated and you just went totally out of the box and said, what's the craziest thing I can do to get people's attention? I mean, was kind of your vibe, or?
Yeah, doing kung fu, like fruit ninja, throwing the fruit in the air, chopping it, cutting the rope, cutting through cans, you know, just being real animated.
Really?
Yeah, and that was the claim to fame of that I figured, you know, people, they love entertainment. And if you have a good product as well, and you're offering something to change their state and make their life better, they really want to transact. I don't even have to ask for the sale, really. I mean, they just, they want it.
They're drawn to it.
Yep.
Dude, congratulations, man. That was so I ask every one of my guests, what's the golden nugget that they can drop? And I mean, you've already said two or three, but let's start dropping some. Like, so to
Okay.
think out of the box, and you know, you've heard the saying, if you do what you've always done, you can expect to get what you've always got. So you're gonna have to do something different. So would one of those golden nuggets be think outside of the box? And I don't know. I'm all I can think of is just go a little crazy and see what attention you can draw to your product. And like you said, if it's a good product as well, then you've added the entertainment to the actual devices of the product, and you put those two things together, and it's success.
That's right. You know, and just the biggest, the tip that I could give, the golden nugget is,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to look stupid or dumb in front of others. And because that's really, that's what people want. If it's real and it's you and you're funny and you're being you, and look, at first it's embarrassing. You're like, I'm acting like an idiot.
Right.
But the weird thing is people started buying because I was acting like a clown, and maybe I was too clowny or whatever it was, but it was sure crazy at like 17 years old. And, you know, we were bringing in $8,000 a month working just one day a weekend. And then I'm like, you know, I should probably work 2 days a weekend and then get things going more, you know.
And I could be a clown more often.
But the big shift for me was getting into computers, because I thought, you know, how many knives can I sell and those kind of things. And that's where I made my big shift into tech, because I felt like, you know, that was the future. And that's where I ended up transforming these, you know, crazy, outrageous marketing skills into technology. And that's where critical mass happened.
So then you just went from the Ginsu knives to technology. You saw something that was a broader goal, a broader spectrum, something you go a little deeper with. Tell me how you made that transition, and how did you first get into technology, and what was that technology?
So during the week, I got a part-time job in the mall at Radio Shack. I really wanted to learn about electronics and computers, right?
Uh-huh.
And working there, I met a mentor. This really old dude came in, and he would like look for fuses and weird electronic parts. And I asked this guy, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a retired computer guy. So we found out he sold his company for a few $100 million. He was some guy who invented some special chips that go in the computer.
Right.
And he would come by once a week, and we'd go grab like some Chinese food in the mall, and he would mentor me. And it was incredible.
No way, dude.
Yeah, every week.
How cool.
Yeah. And so after that was interesting. I became one of the top salespeople at Radio Shack, got a different electronics job at another place, became the top salesperson out of 5,000 people. And then the business went out of business. So I had no income from the computer sales job. So that's when I started my own company. And how I did it is I asked my manager for the database of all the people I had sold computers to, which was thousands. And I cold called them. This is before cell phones were big, or unless you had a bag phone.
Right.
And I said, if you have a warranty, if you have a warranty, I will cover that. Here's my pager number. And in the first year, we lost $27,000. When I say we, my wife and I just got married, we lost $27,000. But the next year we did over $1 million in revenue. This is back in '94.
By reaching out first and just telling people that even though this went out of business, more for them. Dude, that is such a, okay. So now there's 2 or 3 gold nuggets that you've already, there's 2 or 3 more that you've already said. So number one, I'm a big proponent that all things happen for a reason. My father's also a pastor, so I've seen the praying over bills, and I'm going to ask you about that again, probably. But I think all things happen for a reason. I think our steps are ordered. And so when I take a step, even though it may not be something that I think is necessarily going to help me, it always seems to add to where I'm going on my next step or my next step or my next step. So in this case, you went to Radio Shack. Did you ever think in your wildest imagination that you would meet somebody that sold their company for a few $100 million that would mentor you?
That wasn't in the plan. That was just fate. And well, my dad says it's not fate. It's God giving you a gift of that relationship. And so you better utilize that and help him how you can, and he'll help you.
Yes.
You know, so
you took that bit of advice too, and I'm going to take it to another level. And you said, I'm going to help these people, even though the company can't, or maybe the company won't. And instead of letting them feel abandoned, I'm going to reach out first. And even though it costs me something, I'm going to offer those people help. And you lost 27,000,
A little more,
26,000.
a little more than 27,000. It was like my whole IRA. It was bad.
Okay. So in your first year, you lost 27,000 doing the right thing, covering people's warranty. But the next year, I'm not for sure if I heard you right. You said you grossed $1 million.
We did over $1 million in revenue that next year. Yeah.
Dude.
It's crazy.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And were you, in doing that, was it just customer service? Was it warranties? Did you do any, did you put on your karate uniform and do any swinging of the knives to get attention? I mean, what did you do? Fill in some of those gaps?
So what I did is I went out to a lot of them were business owners, and I went out on site onto their premise and kept their computer going. I asked them, "Can I put a sticker on your computer?" And they're like, "Yeah." And it's just my pager number. And if you have a problem, I don't care if it's 24/7, you just page me. And I'll get back to you in a real quick amount of time and help you. And then what's kind of funny is people start calling me and they're like, "Hey, our computers are old. We need to buy some."
Right.
And it just got busier and busier and busier. And then pretty soon I hired a bunch of my friends that went to high school, and I went to a little bit of community college part-time, and I hired like 5 friends.
Right.
And it got busier and busier and busier.
Were you the original Geek Squad? I mean, this is what I'm hearing that like Best Buy has?
Kind of similar, but even better though, to the next level.
Personalized. Yeah.
Yeah. Super personalized.
Oh man. So out of the personal service, then you led with serving others, and then it came back to you. You didn't lead with how can I get somebody to buy from me? You led with how can I serve first? Is that correct?
Well, these people were demanding the service in a way, because some of them, as a salesperson, I gave them my pager number originally. I'm like, "Hey, if you need to buy anything, you can just text me and then I'll meet you at the store," And so a lot of people were messaging me, "Well, what do I do now?" So, I felt like, I had a friend relationship with all these customers. They were
Right.
so loyal, and I couldn't just leave them there like that,
So what have you done today to take all of that training, all of that know-how, and put it together to kind of teach people that? Because I would assume you're a very high sought after speaker, teacher. Tell me about what you're doing today, because that's an amazing story.
Okay. So today, I have 5 different companies, but the primary ones that you'll see publicly we still have the original company, which is PCLaptops.com.
Okay.
There's another company called Xidax, Xidax, and it's one of the largest esports computer builders in the world. So we build computers for pro streamers, content developers. If you watch a new movie, there's a good chance that it was edited, cut, designed on our workstations.
No kidding.
Yeah. And then we have one of the largest enterprise cloud backup companies in the world called storagewhale.com. And we offer services to consumers, but also like banks and military and education to keep their data safe all over the world. And then what's more passive, but it's active, nothing's truly passive in my experience, is we do a lot of commercial real estate development now. In fact, it's probably now almost to the point where it's larger than tech, though, because
no way.
Yeah.
In the Utah area still, or are you in LA or a little bit all over, or what?
Primarily Utah. I like to kind of see what we're investing in, maybe
have it in your own backyard. Yep.
Yeah. So it's been a good journey though. And now the cool thing is that, I have such a great team of people now. It's been almost 30 years since we've been operating these businesses. I wanted to give back and share a little bit. And that mentor made me make a promise. He's like, "Dan, hey, if I help you and you do really well, I want you to, share some of the stuff I'm teaching you and help other people." And so that's been one of my big new missions here the last couple of years with Dan's Millionaire Code is to help people and really offer so much free content to them that they could really just be successful, looking at my free stuff as well, if they execute on it,
Yeah, you said a name that you said really fast, and I want to make sure my listeners get it. You said Dan, the Millionaire Code.
Dan's Millionaire Code. One word.
Dan's Millionaire Code.com.
.com, or it's on Instagram like crazy, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere too.
Okay, Dan's Millionaire Code.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, man. I'm gonna look it up right when we get off. Is there anything else that that you have, or that you say out of all of your experiences, like if you could tell the Dan at 18 one or two things, what would be the primary two things? Let's say two. If you got three, great, but one, two, or three things that you go, little Dan, if you could live by this for the next few years, you're going to rock it. Like, what would those few things be?
It's when you meet anybody, find out what their pain is. I'm not just talking extrinsic pain. Find out what their intrinsic, their internal pain is, and help them solve that problem.
Okay.
Because everyone has a pain. And, you know, if you have a business or just want to have a friendship with somebody or a relationship of any kind, the first thing to do is listen, let them empty what's in their mind and find out where they're suffering and try to offer some assistance to them, you know, genuine assistance to help them heal that pain. And what I say by that is if you can pull the thorn out of a lion's paw, that lion is your friend forever.
He's your buddy. Yeah. He's not eating you, he's treating you.
Yeah. And that's how I found all my mentors. I don't just be like, hey, mentor me. It's how can I help them? What pain do they have? And, you know, some of my mentors, you know, have made billions of dollars, but physically they're really overweight and they got lots of arguments with their wives and had no relationship with their kids. And they're like, Dan, how can I work on that? And I was like, well, you know, I've been married almost 30 years and my kids turn out all right. I can share with you my experience. And they're like, wow, this is amazing. They didn't teach me this at Harvard Business School or.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
oh man, I love that. Love that. What's another one?
Another one is, again, whatever product that you're trying to sell, whether it's, you know, computer stuff or a training program, whatever you're selling, vitamins, CBD, whatever you're selling nowadays.
Right.
A few important things. You want to entertain people, make them laugh, have a positive emotional thing, entertain. You really want to inform and educate them on really the benefits of that. Mm-hmm. And then you want to outfit them. And I think if they know you're genuine, you care, and you're educating them on really what it is, and then you outfit them, people, it's okay to ask people to say, hey, this is great. You want one?
Yeah.
Because if you've already done all that preliminary work in healing their pains and making them laugh and they know you care, of course you can ask them to purchase your product or your service or do business with you because you're cool. You help them and genuinely you care.
Yeah.
So
they want to anyway. You just need to ask them probably.
Yeah. A lot of people forget though, you know, to entertain them or educate them or to.
They want to jump straight to the sale.
Yeah, they're like, just buy.
Skip the foreplay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta treat it. I say you have to treat a relationship like your first prom date. Like smell good, look good, dress good,
buy the roses, do all the things.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Be kind to all the relatives.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk, you know.
Right. Wow, dude.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, do you have a third one?
A third one, I would say dedicate one day a week where you dedicate at least a couple hours in the beginning if you're really busy to actually give. Just give. And what I mean by that is whether it's your time, your money, or anything like that. And when I was younger, I used to think, man, I used to just have to sell and take and take and take. But the weird thing is this, personally, and I don't say this to brag, I say this to impress upon the viewers out there.
Yeah.
I was stuck at a certain point in my career making, you know, $500,000 a year, which is a lot for a young person, but I was stuck. And then one of my mentors said, dude, you got to start giving more, dude. It's like, all you do is buy fast cars and waste it on stupid things. You're not investing in all this stuff, but you're not helping the community. You're kind of like a you guy. That was a hard shift as a, you know, young person, barely above a teenager. And when I started doing this, dedicating Fridays to giving, a lot of my Fridays, a big chunk of it, I started with just a couple hours though. A weird thing. One, I felt better about myself, which was really great. Everything that I did felt more fulfilling. But the second thing is, which is crazy, is within 1 year after doing that, my income went up 300%.
Wow.
Which was weird. And my dad told me this. He was like, see, like, you know, you're fighting people's pains, you're healing them, but you're actually giving and you're doing things to not just look at taking. You're building a win-win or just win for them even.
Right.
But like my dad said, God knows, and it always comes back, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
wow. That
don't expect a return, man. Like, I mean, if you give, don't think, oh, I'm going to get all the stuff. Just give and be like, I feel good because I'm
because
helping.
then it's not really a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll get a
Wow.
gift because
Wow.
you'll feel
Man.
good doing it, actually. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
if anything, you'll feel great because you're helping people. You know, if
Yeah.
it comes back in some other way, cool.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 1,000%. We could do a whole podcast just on that.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Last question that I have for you, then I'm going to sign off. We're out of time here.
Mhm.
Do you have any regrets? Like if there's one thing that you could do over or do again, or maybe take advantage of an opportunity or just do something a little different than you've done, what would that be?
I would say invest consistently every month, whether it be stocks, equities, real estate. When I was young and I started making, 100 grand a year, 200 grand, whatever,
Right.
It start doing that instead of just blowing it on just like Ferraris and stupid things all in the beginning. It's cool to buy Ferraris and all those kind of things, but
They weren't stupid back then.
yeah, but in the beginning, like, pay yourself first. That's an old saying, everyone says it, but really treat your investing like a car payment or a house payment, and definitely invest much more than you blow. And then take 10% of your net income and blow that. That's okay. And then take 10% and give it away to charity, which is fine too.
Go help somebody.
But invest early, because then when you get older, it's cool to have income coming in when you're sleeping, right?
Yeah, mailbox money.
Yeah.
Man, I asked for 2 or 3 golden nuggets. I think there's probably at least 10 here.
Oh, man.
Guys, if you haven't met this guy, Dan Young, please listen to this again. Think right now of 10 people that you could send it to. Think of 10 people that may need that extra boost of confidence or may have gone through something similar or needs to pick up on one of these golden nuggets and change their life forever. You'll just give that. Dan just said, give something. This is going to cost you nothing but a few seconds to take this and share it with somebody else. Share it with 10 people and see how that comes back to you. See the feeling that you immediately get. I think you're going to love it. Dan Young, tell people one more time how to get a hold of you and the couple things you've got going on, and then I'm going to sign off.
Dan's Millionaire Code. I talk about all my companies when I'm doing, just document it. Instagram is the easiest ADD, attention deficit disorder, way to see short clips of like what I'm up to.
That's me.
And then there's links to the full podcast and all that stuff if you got the energy to watch those. But just watch those short snippets on Instagram. Dan's Millionaire Code.
Fantastic. We will. Henry, the business fighter, Dan Young. Dan, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for taking your time. And I know we're going to talk again soon, I'm sure.
Thank you, Henry. You're awesome.
Be blessed.